Luckiest Girl Alive is an upcoming American mystery thriller film directed by Mike Barker from a screenplay by Jessica Knoll, based on her novel of the same name. Luckiest Girl Alive is the story of quite the opposite. Tiffany Finelli had a rough start in life, to say the least. When we are first introduced to her, she is planning her wedding to a rich blue dude, working at a top women's magazine in New York, and she seems like she's living the dream life. However, it soon becomes apparent that is not the case at all. Ani doesn't come from a wealthy or prestigious family, but is born to an incredibly ambitious mother. Ani gains a scholarship to a top private school, but things aren't at all plain sailing. Ani is hiding demons from the past, but they're about to be brought to the surface again in a new documentary about her school. Ani finally has the chance to share her side of the story to a shocking incident that took place when she was a teenager, but it could cause everything that she has built for herself since to crumble down. Ani, pronounced Ani, is quite a character. On the surface it looks like she has it all, but her bitchy internal monologue make it apparent that she's something quite different on the inside. At first you think she's a superficial bitch, then you'll read more about her and realize that she's actually quite vulnerable. Keep going and you start to get confused again as to whether she really is just a superficial bitch. She's a tough character to figure out, and I'm sure everyone who's read the book will have slightly different opinions on her, but I personally thought she was an awful character. She went through something traumatic as a child, and I appreciate that her adult life was shaped by brutal things that happened to her when she was young, but I just couldn't get over how manipulative and self-absorbed she was. Tiffany isn't a likable character in the slightest. She's not the sort of character you're supposed to like, but neither are any of the other characters, to be honest. This meant it was a little difficult to connect with the characters, and I felt a little distanced from the story. That said, they were all still interesting to read about, but this book really needed a strong plot to carry it through to make up for the lack of character connection, and it fell slightly short. I read Luckiest Girl Alive pretty quickly because I was desperate to find out what the big twist in the story would be. However, as page after page went by, I started to think that maybe there wasn't such a big twist and that I'd already gone past it. This is when the disappointment started to sink in. I was still interested to see where the story ended up, but it was evident that I had been misled into thinking this was next Gone Girl. This, in my opinion, is the main problem with this story, as the comparison to Gone Girl prepares the reader for the most disturbing of thrillers, and unfortunately that's not what Luckiest Girl Alive is. There are undoubtedly similarities between Amy Dunn and Tiffany Finelli, but Tiffany has her own story to tell, and thinking that this is going to be the next Gone Girl caused me to be a little disappointed in this book. In conclusion, Luckiest Girl Alive is a great debut novel, but thinking that this is the next Gone Girl will only leave you disappointed. If you manage to stave away from all that marketing, that I'm sure you'll find the story gripping and exciting. I'm still not entirely sure what the big secret was, in all honesty. There were a few shocking revelations, but once you've got into the story and the sort of vibe Jessica Knoll has created, then you have an idea of what to expect. There was no one big secret for me, and the anticipation for this is what kept me reading, but is also what meant I was disappointed when I finished. There are some disturbing scenes such as bullying, rape and violence. These hit you hard, so this book definitely isn't for everyone. However, if you like a strong female lead, albeit a hated one, and an intriguing story, then this is the book for you. Thank you to Simon Books for sending me a complimentary review copy. As always, all opinions are my own. Luckiest Girl Alive is scheduled to be released in select cinemas on September 30, 2022, before its streaming release on October 7, 2022, by Netflix.